Hello YouTube, it's Trust, and today's guest on the Bear Hug Radio is Bellic. He is the co-founder of the GigaDAO, Solana's first NFT fractionalization deck that is coming to Solana. You need to watch this video to know how the GigaDAO and the GigaDex are gonna change the Solana space. Saw your project on Vince's video, and I'm like, wow, as soon as I heard you guys talk about your project, I'm like, I really want to get into this. So I'm glad to be joined by Bellic today, the co-founder of GigaDAO.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
What kind of holders do you want on your project? What is your target audience? The reason why I'm asking is I've heard Frank for the Ute Mint, telling people not to mint if they didn't really believe in the long term. I've also had like Ptumu, I don't know if you know him, wants people to do the research before they come in the project. So what kind of like holders do you want?
Yeah, that's a great question. And look, there's absolutely no way I'm going to tell people not to mint. Like, we are long term, but we're also short term. Our platform's going to be live before our mint. So there's no long term. It's minting after we've actually provided and met the first stage of our roadmap, which is launching one of the fastest and most stable decentralized exchanges on Solana. So when we came into this, in no way are we looking to cash grab or raise money for development. We've already finished the development. Of course, we can't sell our NFT for free because we've got artists and staff that haven't been paid for months, almost a year as well. So the idea of our collection is to build our community. For the last year, we haven't had a PFP, and that's definitely been one of our greatest weaknesses in not being able to build that community around what we're doing and all our hard work. And so first and foremost, our PFP collection is to try and build that community. And we want everyone to mint. We want everyone to own a nerd. Initially I came into it wanting to do a 15,000 collection, but I got told I wasn't allowed to. But that's fine. I think that a lot of people are going to get nerds, and they are going to hold it simply because we're going to be the leaders of innovative technology in this space. So we're trying to grow our community as much as possible. And the first step with that is making sure we're not over allocating spots to people. We're not giving any spots to influencers. No person is going to have more than 20 PFPs available to them from Mint. Obviously, people can sweep up on secondaries, and we're probably going to see that as influencers and whales want to try and fill their bags. But for the most part, we're looking for a 100% allocation on our whitelist, and we're looking to ensure that our holder numbers at the time of mint is over 60%. And I think we are well on track to achieving that.
That's really cool because we all know the power of the PFP, like with the OK Bears, they've done it on Mint Day where everyone switches their profile picture to the new picture. And I think it's really powerful, especially if there is a big project and like Diamond Hunters, like you say. And if there's a 60% shareholder, I think that would be very good because like more people are holding, the more people you have, the more noise you can make. Like I know that Frank with his D-Gods noticed that, and that's why he made the Utes after, where it was a bigger profile picture collection.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think what's also really important is the nature of the PFP itself. We're not making a random animal that someone can use. We're making every single one of us grinding. Like, the collection is called Entrepreneurs. We're all a bunch of nerds. We're all sitting here doing our own specialized function, whether that's trading, flipping JPEGs, being community managers, maybe we're artists, or maybe we're builders, developers, founders, all that sort of thing. We're trying to capture that within our collection. So this isn't just another PFP. This is a PFP that's meant to represent you in the Web3 space. And I think the narrative has really captured that. And I think the art as well is going to capture that too. And we're really pushing towards making a real PFP that is actually representative of you as your Web3 ID in this space.
I totally get it. The reason why I was asking you at the beginning is like I wanted to know if you're willing to onboard like newbies, probably people that haven't been on the space, because it seems like technical, the project GigaDAO and stuff like that, where you need to kind of understand what is spot trading and certain things like that, right? Where of course everyone wants diamond handers, and since you guys are a trader platform, maybe you want some flippers, some traders, a bit of mix of everything. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. But it's not just that. It's going to be a mix of everyone. So we are definitely a technology company, and things may seem a little bit technical at first. We are still kind of building out more friendly products so people can understand exactly what we're doing. We've got a content creator working on some YouTube videos. We've got people working on some graphic design, some infographics, and obviously we've got our white paper already published. But the idea is just to level up, upgrade the ecosystem, and allow a community that's much broader than just technology. We're going to have certain traits on our PFPs. It might be an artist, or it might be a community manager, and those people are going to be able to get together as like a sub community and kind of work with each other and build something out. I know Utes is doing something similar, but we're going to be far more focused in trying to build that community and that functionality between them. Yeah.
Because like garnering attention on Solana is like really important, with especially with the degen mentality that some people might have. And do you think that your art is good enough that people will change their bear profile picture to the nerd?
I mean, I would hope so. I think the art is nice. There's definitely a few steps we need to take to make it more PFPable, but I think for the most part, just the nostalgic side of things in having pop culture references in there that people can customize and change based on who they are as a person. I think that's really going to go miles ahead. My PFP, I love to watch anime and I grew up watching anime. So I probably want more anime style traits on my PFP, and I'm going to have the opportunity to customize that when they come available. So I think the idea of being able to represent who you are through a PFP is going to be very popular. And I believe our art is unique, that it is going to stand out a lot. We aren't going to use generic traits and generic backgrounds. We are going the full force with this one, making sure that it is as beautiful, as sleek, also basic in how it gets translated through the dot on Discord and Twitter. But I definitely believe that the art is well above what we need to be able to have people turn their PFPs from a Utes or a Bears into a nerd.
I like your answer, but yeah, I definitely agree. Like I guess it depends. Like I said, if you like anime and stuff like that, I think the character traits will be a good helper for people to like maybe get really into the art. But you talked about a content creator.
They're just working on making tutorial videos and instructional videos for us. It's not kind of the kind of content you'll see on TikTok or Instagram. It's more informational content that's easily digestible for people that want to learn.
Okay, I was just curious if you had like maybe paid some well-known content creator to like market the project, and I think you are going more the aspect of how to use the platform, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that's right. We aren't paying anyone to do any kind of shilling for us. We refuse to. It's not going to happen. If someone wants to create content on Gigadex, and I think they will, we believe strongly in that. So content creators are going to create content for free, because Dex is amazing and people are going to want to know more. They're going to be searching about it on YouTube. Gigadex, how do I use it? Or why is this so good? And those that put those videos out there are going to benefit from it.
Yeah, definitely. Can you tell me about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm known as BLAC in this space. I am Australian born. I am currently based in Bali, Indonesia. I've been living here now for a year. I went full-time in Web3 back in 2022. January 1st, I officially came here, mostly because it's affordable for me to be able to work for free, and I haven't had an income for over a year. Been working on GigaDAO for free, blood and sweat, actually, and getting this done. My initial background is sales, project management, people management, and also process development. So I run the business side of GigaDAO, and I love it, to be honest. I'm here 16 hours a day, haven't left my villa in a few months now, just working hard and grinding. I'm addicted to it, to be honest with you.
If you're at a beautiful place like that and spending all your time inside, it's must be tough. But what do you enjoy doing outside of Web3, though, if you ever have time?
Well, I mean, when I did have time, before I started in Web3, I love scuba diving. I love meeting people, talking. I love my family as well. I've got a very big family back home. I miss them all very dearly, but they are very understanding of my position and what I'm trying to do. So they are also very supportive. And I mean, I love working. You know, before I got into Web3, I was also working full time, 12 hours a day in my enterprises. You know, I've started a small business here as well. And yeah, I just love being productive, and scuba diving as well is probably my number one.
So, where's the nicest place you went scuba diving?
Philippines is definitely my number one. I kind of traveled there for 6 months, living there. I was doing some volunteering as well, just helping out in construction. But on my days off, I was scuba diving all around that place, and I absolutely loved it. Just there's so much color. It's so tropical. There's so many fish as well, which is beautiful.
I'm Canadian, but I lived in Korea for 4 years teaching English as a second language. But I've also like done some traveling in Asia. And I actually got my scuba diving license in the Philippines, so that's why I was like curious.
Oh, that's cool. Any place in particular?
In Cebu.
Cebu. All right,
Yeah.
nice, nice. I actually never went to Cebu and Boracay. I stayed away from those places because I'm also addicted to having fun,
Mm.
which is why I live out in the jungle here. I separate myself from the craziness that is Bali, just so I make sure I work as much as possible. But yeah, Cebu is a
Yeah.
nice place. I mostly went to Palawan,
Okay.
El Nido there, and Coron. They've got really nice diving spots.
I had a blast. I was there for a week, but I mostly did scuba diving lessons. I did my entry and then I did my advance, so it was really cool. But it's funny that you said that the nicest place is the Philippines, where my dream is to go to like Australia at one point and like do the Great Barrier Reef. Have you ever done that?
I have, yeah. I did it a long time ago. I'm glad I did because it is somewhat suffering now because there was a new oil rig introduced up north and there's coral bleaching. So it's not as beautiful as what it once was. I would actually recommend to go to the Ningaloo Reef off the coast of WA. It's not as deep, but there's still plenty of color and plenty of fish out there, and it is really beautiful. And it's just going to be the number one spot soon because the Great Barrier Reef, unfortunately, is suffering from coral bleaching. The
Oh.
fish are unfortunately dying there. It really sucks. One of the greatest reef systems, one of the biggest reef systems in the world, is suffering from just corporations, and you know they cut out a massive chunk of that reef to build an oil rig there. It sucks.
Yeah, it really sucks.
But you can still go to it. It still is quite nice, but it's only I would say it's only got a few more years left until it gets destroyed.
Wow, corporate making money, right?
That's Australia in a nutshell. I won't go too much into
Yeah.
that. But anyway.
All right. So, like, if you can tell me the project in like 30 seconds, what would you say?
About GigaDAO specifically.
Yeah.
So GigaDAO is a project run by myself and Alpha Prime. We used to be a team of 3 full-time, 3 part-timers. We're now a team of, I think, 16 full-timers. Sorry, not 16. 13 full-timers and some part-timers. We're working around the clock to just innovate on technology. We've built at least 6 other technologies last year. GigaDEX obviously is our most prominent. We are technically a DAO now. We have the first open source upgrade authority on Solana, in that all of our code and our treasury is gated behind an upgrade authority, which is controlled by gigs. So we have relinquished our ownership over everything that we build and all of the money that we have to our gigs holders. We obviously retain a strong percentage of that to ensure that we can continue working and building on the project. But yeah, our gigs holders are the ones that are with us now in owning GigaDAO as a whole.
Can you tell me, like, you said it's a true DAO, right? And can you tell me why you think a true DAO would be better than having a central figure like Frank or Kais running a project of this magnitude?
I mean, without bagging on anyone, look at the centralized figures that have controlled most of the projects this year. If anyone is an OG listening to this, you remember back to Jack Sui, who owned Neo Nexus on Solana. Jack Sui had millions of dollars and fumbled the entire bag because he was centralized ownership. We look at any founder that owned their project solely has fumbled their bags. Even SSC, they had hundreds of millions of dollars of investor money and they fumbled it. So, I mean, and again, Frank, he's a great marketer and he's done amazing things for this space. But at the end of the day, he made a bunch of promises that he never delivered on because he was the one in control. And going down to 0% royalties was one of the worst things he could have done for his project. trying to front run Magic Eden on that, he lost one of his lead artists as well. So, so far we've seen there is no centralized ownership that has done well for any project in Web3. And I think it is time to innovate, and it is time to move on from that typical structure of someone being in charge and wasting investor money. So we believe we have the right platform and the right infrastructure to be able to actually provide proper DAO tooling and infrastructure for our project. And I think we are going to do really well. The infrastructure that we have is amazing. The smart contracts we've built to be able to support our DAO is the first in the space. And I think we're actually going to see huge leaps forward just using the GigaDAO model going forward.
Do you think the Monkey DAO is not a true DAO? Is that what? Because you're saying being the first.
Well, I mean, I've gotten shit for saying this before, but I'm correct in saying that they aren't a true DAO. And even now, they have just elected someone that runs everything. So they're technically still very much more centralized than what they were before. But how it worked before is they had councillors. And the councillors work, that's a system we're going to be using, but it's not an on-chain voting mechanism. So there is someone that still has control over that wallet that is appointing those councillors. That's still a centralized solution. It's using a model that is good, and we're going to be implementing a model similar, but they aren't technically a DAO because someone still has control over who has ownership and access of those wallets.
Sorry if my questions seem pointy or something, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to dig into you. I'm just curious. I wanted to know your opinion, by the way.
Yeah, that's fine. Monkey DAO has attacked me a couple times when I have said it before. But I stand by it, and I'm not discrediting anything they do. It's a great system. And with proper incentives, it can work. The issue is there's no incentive there for the councillors. So the model is good. It just needs to be upgraded, needs to be put on chain, needs to be decentralized. And not discrediting Monkey DAO at all when I say that either.
Cool. So how will the rev share work? Is it like all the revenue will go to each holder? There's going to be a system in place, of course.
So 100% revenue goes to the DAO treasury, and then it's essentially up to the DAO to vote how that's going to work. We don't make decisions unilaterally. It'll be completely up to the DAO in how they want revenue share to work. Obviously, we expect them to think about the future of the project and distribute revenue accordingly.
Can you explain what is an order book or a DEX, and why is yours better than the other ones?
Yeah, so I think the best way to simplify it is to provide an example. So Binance is probably the most famous exchange. FTX was getting there. The major difference between a decentralized exchange and an exchange is on an exchange, as soon as you deposit your money onto it, they now have ownership. They control it, and you have no idea how their code works in the background. And FTX is a prime example of this. You don't know where that money's going. You don't know who's operating it and what's happening in the background. And so it's a trust exercise with that exchange. And Binance has said this themselves, within 10 years, we're not going to see centralized exchanges anymore. They are going to be decentralized. And so what a decentralized exchange is all of the money put into that platform when you're trading, that's controlled by a smart contract, which is verified on-chain. So the massive difference is we don't own any of the assets that's going through GigaDex. It's the smart contracts that are controlling that. And with proper auditing and open sourcing, everyone will be able to track and monitor those assets as they move around GigaDex.
I like your explanation, because technically when you put the money on the exchange, they can take the money and then use it however they want, and then as long as they give it back kind of in a way, right?
Yeah, and we saw FTX.
Yeah.
How much money was it? $11 billion wiped from the books because they were misusing people's funds.
Yeah, no, that's sad. Let's talk about fractionalization. Can you tell me what is the advantage of fractionalizing an NFT? And if someone fractionalizes an NFT, do they have the same access to the NFT's utility?
So I'll answer the second question because it's easier. That's up to the DAO. That's up to the project. If they want to include the NFT fractions into their DAO, they're more than welcome to. It's entirely up to them who they want to give access to their DAO. So it could just be the NFT holders, or they could start to also include the fraction holders as well. In terms of what is fractionalization, fractionalization is essentially when you turn one NFT into a bunch of other small parts. Essentially, you're not changing the NFT at all. You're locking the NFT up in a secure escrow wallet, which is controlled by a smart contract. That smart contract then mints tokens against it. And those tokens now represent the NFT. And so for our platform, it'll be 100 tokens. But we're not going to be fractionalizing at the NFT level. Sure, it requires an NFT to get the tokens, but the tokens minted are going to be collection tokens. So if you were to fractionalize an OKBear, you're not going to get tokens for OKBear 1537. You're going to get tokens for OKBear. So everyone's going to be getting the same token for whatever NFT they fractionalize against that collection.
Okay, it's not like what HG. I don't know if it's HG, but there was like a
HG, yeah.
the three punks, and then they had like a percentage of that punk, and is that what it was on Solana?
Yeah, and that was a really interesting exercise and kind of proof of work of how fractionalizing at an NFT level is dangerous. So he got a punk from ETH, he bridged it over to Solana. He then minted 1,000 NFTs against that and put it into Treasury wallet. The process and how he did that is super unsafe. The whole thing kind of makes me feel a bit uncomfortable. But essentially what he did is he fractionalized at an NFT level. He had punk, let's say 537. He minted 1,000 punk 537 NFTs. And so now those 1,000 NFTs represent that one. And technically they should be 1/1000th worth of the NFT. What ended up happening was someone actually instantly burnt one of those fractions. Now you have 999 fractions of the NFT, but that means the NFT can never be redeemed because there's not the full 1,000.
Wow.
It's dangerous, right? But so what he had to do was he then brought over another two, fractionalized those, and said, if you have 1,000 total fractions from any of these three collections, you're able to redeem one of those punks. That's not a good solution because even then, if two of the NFTs get redeemed, the rest of those tokens, let's say there's 999, they are now absolutely worthless because they cannot be redeemed for the NFT. So fractionalizing at an NFT level is very, very dangerous. It essentially makes the NFT void. As soon as you fractionalize at the NFT, actually, even if the fractions don't get burnt, there's no value in the token because that one person is never going to sell you that one fraction.
Okay. Yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes sense. I'm glad I asked you these questions because it's like going in my brain also and making more sense. Which project do you think resembles you the most?
I mean, is this on a personal level or a project level?
Well, more project level.
Project level, definitely. Like we're sitting up there with some of the great builders. HadeSwap is certainly, they were innovators in the AMM space. Famous Fox, Foxy Dev is amazing. What they've built over the last year has been the foundations for Solana as a whole, in being able to use more complex solutions simply. Other builders in the space, they don't come to my mind right away, but there's certainly a few out there. But yeah, I guess Famous Fox we're more aligned with in terms of innovative technology.
I wanted to know though, with the speed of your DEX, do you feel like you will be trading NFTs? Like, are you going to be an NFT trading platform to buy and sell like NFTs?
The actual JPEGs? Well, I mean, there's always going to be a JPEG market, and if I would be lying if I said we weren't going to look into that as well. Certainly not on the roadmap right now. We have a niche that we need to identify and fill, but we will likely move into building a JPEG market alongside GigaDex because we do have the best trading speeds in the space.
Are there any ambitious project that you think you're going to be doing in the future? Just. Do you have a specific thing that is like very, very ambitious, but like that you think you're going to do in the future?
Absolutely. We have multiple different architecture designs for multiple different Web 2 platforms that are out there. Like Wikipedia itself, we've created an architecture for that we believe is going to be potentially the future of data collection. Even social media platforms, that in itself, there is a very fine way that can be tuned so that it isn't just a dump fest and bots. We've worked out how to stop bots from being on a social media platform by bringing it over to the blockchain. So there are a lot of ambitious projects that we want to do in the future through GigaDAO, of course, and just work towards kind of making a more blockchain optimized environment across them.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Like, of course, if you go too much into detail, you'll be spilling the beans. But I'm just curious, you know. But yeah, with like fractionalization, spot trading, margin positions, lending pools, what are you most bullish on? You know, like, what do you think is the most coolest thing about your project right now?
Just the technology in which we've built everything on. I know a lot of people in this space, they don't care a lot about the technology, and I can get that. And hopefully we can show them why it's so important. But our smart contracts, our code, our technology is light years ahead of what currently exists. We've just gone over and above in making sure that we have the most scalable solution on Solana and across the entire crypto ecosystem. We're going to be the fastest DEX in crypto, and it's going to be built on Solana. We're going to really prove how powerful this blockchain is with our technology.
Yeah, so do you have any plans on hiring a marketing team to maybe help in that domain?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're kind of slow moving at the moment. There are a lot of pieces to GigaDAO, and because I've been managing it fully myself for the last year, obviously I've had support and I don't discredit them at all, but being full time in the space and kind of building that up from scratch, it's been challenging, and now I'm kind of having to let go of the reins a little bit. And if you've ever built something or held something together for so long, it's really hard to stop holding on to it in fear that it will break or fall down. So I'm learning to do that at the moment, and we are branching out slowly in hiring new people and trying to get that across the board. And we definitely will be expanding as much as possible so that I can free up more of my space, more of my time, and focus on what's important. And that's kind of building out GigaDex as a whole, and the future of GigaDAO. So I'm handballing things over now to certain team members who are kind of in control at the moment, and hopefully we'll continue doing that as we hire more people to join GigaDAO.
Yeah, I totally get it. It's tough, like when you have like full control to like start letting go and like
I'm really the glue at the moment, and it shows to a lot of people too. So hopefully I can start handing that over though, and we can be more of a supported structure with multiple hands holding it together, not just my own.
No, I totally get it. I wanted to talk to you about like what are you holding? Because I saw in one of your videos that you were holding Bitbirds and OK Bears. What Solana projects do you hold that you really enjoy?
That's so. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't hold a lot of collections. I actually, not having an income for the last year, I actually had to sell a lot of my assets. It didn't make sense for me to be investing when I need to make sure I've got money for my own well-being. So I actually ended up selling most of my NFTs and a lot of my assets just before the FTX crash. I got very lucky. I sold everything and I cashed out 3 days before FTX crashed. So that's why right now NA is my PFP on Discord and also on my personal Twitter. In terms of what I'm personally holding right now, I guess Saint Degen is being run by Jumbus, who's our marketing director. I also have some of his one-of-ones, but I'm not holding anything else, to be perfectly honest, other than my loot boxes. I'm one of the whales for our project, which I'll never be able to sell because founders aren't allowed to sell their NFTs. So I usually just use them for giveaways and whatnot. I hope to hold a few more collections going into the future when I'm in a more comfortable position to be able to be spending money and putting money into an investment. So I can tell you what I'm looking to hold. I definitely want to get my hands on an SMB, mostly nostalgic reasons. They've been around for as long as I have. I missed that mint, never got a chance to buy one in secondary. So definitely looking into getting to that. And what else is there? I don't think I'll ever purchase a DGOD or a EU, mainly because they're looking at trying to get over to other chains. But that first step is to just kind of work out how I can get an SMB without hurting myself financially, and then I'll probably branch out a little bit more after that. Oh, Jelly Rascals as well, actually. That is one I'm holding. Can't forget those guys. Carlos, very bullish on him. I had the opportunity to meet him a few months ago. Lovely guy, and he is very authentic and genuine. Works really hard for his holders as well.
Yeah, everyone's really bullish on Carlos. I haven't talked to him yet, but I hear a lot of good things about him. Every time I hear him on stage, he really knows his stuff, and he's a really good builder for the community. That's for sure. But yeah, there shouldn't be self shaming. You know, like I feel like people sometimes they kind of like don't want to say that they sold. You know, like at least if you sold, you know, like as long as you sold with a profit and made the could buy into other projects and stuff like that, it's fine, and it shouldn't be a like taboo thing to talk about like selling
Hmm.
your JPEGs and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's not fair, right? I'm happy. I tell my holders to take some profits. Like our loot box holders have been holding for almost a year now, and I've managed. Alpha and myself and the rest of our team have managed to take that from at one point a point 0.4 sol floor to now
Mhm.
comfortably sitting at 65. So I tell them, guys, take profits and enjoy the money. They've been very patient, diamond handers from day one. And I'm glad to see them finally benefiting from supporting us for so long. So absolutely, always take profits. Never be ashamed to sell if you need to as well.
I wanted to know before also, how long do you think it's gonna take before the site gets enough volume to get the most out of the like, collections on the margin trading?
Oh yeah, that's an interesting one. So I definitely think we're going to see immediate volume on Gigadex at launch. I don't think there's ever going to be an issue of users trading using Gigadex. In terms of activating margin trading, that's really going to come down to a call to arms from the founders themselves. So how we are putting the platform is we take a 2% transaction fee on all trades. 10% of that revenue that we're generating is going back to the projects and the founders through the standard royalty wallet. So they're potentially going to be earning more money using Gigadex than they are going to be using on Magic Eden, because there's more trades per hour on Gigadex because of the fractionalization, because it's cheaper and everyone can trade. So it's going to be a call to arms from the founders to really push their users to be using Gigadex, to be opening those orders. And once there's enough liquidity there, we can unlock margin trading for them. So I would say within 2 weeks of launching for that market, we could probably see margin trading being unlocked for that collection.
Interesting. I thought it would be a bit more than 2 weeks. I thought it would be at least a month, but hey, I'm all for it.
I don't think so. I mean, if we look at the volume, DGods right now, what are they sitting at? Let me quickly go into it. I can tell you, like, honestly, you only need maybe 10 to 20 DGods listed on Gigadex to unlock margin trading. So that's not a lot, really, if you think about it. That's a 10K collection. There's 365 of those currently listed on Magic Eden. We only need 20 of those to be on Gigadex to unlock margin trading. So it's not a small, it's no large feat. It's actually very easy to do. And we do have people ready to list as well. So we're not coming into this being hopeful. We're coming into this knowing that we're going to have that volume and that liquidity straight away.
I think some people they overpromise, underdeliver, and I think what you're trying to do is the opposite, right?
Like, honestly, we only need 10 decods listed on Gigadex to unlock margin trading based on our formula. So that's not going to be difficult at all.
I've already taken so much of your time. I really appreciate everything that taking the time to talk to me. Or I usually ask before leaving, who would you be interested in like watching on the podcast? Like who would you want to know more about?
I definitely want to see Carlos from Jelly Rascals. If you can
Okay.
get him on a one-on-one, that would be amazing, because he doesn't do them often.
It's been called, so I have to message him now.
No problem. Thank you. Can I do a quick plug on the NFT and the mint coming up?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Perfect. So at the moment, you can buy a Gigadale loot box on Magic Eden. There is only 999 of those. I think 4 have been burnt, so 999, 995. Those NFTs will give you a free PFP at mint. It'll also give you a free whitelist token that'll be available around 1 week before mint. Those tokens are capped at 999. There will never be any more. They will be listed on Famous Fox. Do with that as you will. Obviously, there is long-term staking for our loot boxes for our Gigs token. We also have our Entrepreneurs Mint coming up at the end of this month. that is the 10,000 collection. It is going to be a reveal mint, and likely the reveal will happen at the end of February as we slowly release more and more of that artwork. The mint price itself, public, is 3 Sol. Our whitelist price will be 2.5. So it's very affordable for people to get in and join our community, and we look forward to having you there. Well, I mean, as I've said, for us, it's not about making money, it's about building a community. So even if Sol goes down to $5, the mint price is going to stay the same.
Yeah, I really like that about you guys, and I really like it. I'm really bullish on your project, and I'm excited to see what comes in the future.
Amazing, dude, and it's coming very fast. Over the next 2 weeks, there's going to be some huge movements coming from GigaDAO and GigaDex, so stay tuned for that.